5 brutal truths that will set you free spiritually. Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try to live well, to do the right thing, your mind still isn't at peace? There's this vague, constant anxiety in your head, as if something bad is always about to happen. You're afraid of loss, afraid of betrayal, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of wasting your life without even knowing why you're alive. In today's world, where everyone is chasing success, happiness, and freedom, there's a painful paradox. The more you chase those things, the more trapped and stuck you feel. Spiritual freedom, the thing that should come from within, has been redefined by external conditions. But the Stoics didn't live that way. For over 2,000 years, Stoic philosophy has shown us that true freedom does not come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling ourselves. And to do that, they face some brutal truths. Not to escape pain, but to walk through it stronger and clearer. Right now, let's explore together 5 brutal truths that will break the chains of worry, control, and suffering, and set your mind free. Truth 1. No one can save you except yourself. One of the most dangerous illusions we carry from childhood is this: someone will come and save us. Maybe it's our parents. Maybe it's a soulmate waiting in the future. Maybe it's a mentor who will hand us the roadmap to success. Or maybe some miraculous event will flip our lives upside down. But as Epictetus once said, do not look for salvation outside yourself. Everything you need is already within you. The problem is, modern people are raised on expectations. We expect that if we become more skilled, people will treat us better. That if we succeed, loved ones won't abandon us. That if we're kind, others won't hurt us. But what happens? You still get hurt. You still feel lonely. You still feel inadequate, even when you've pushed yourself to exhaustion. Because expectations tied to the outside world are a double-edged sword. They rob you of ownership over your life. You wait for someone to rescue you when you could already swim, if only you'd turn inward. Marcus Aurelius, the great emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "When you wake up each morning, remind yourself, no one owes you anything, and you owe no one a soul that has lost its freedom." This brutal truth isn't easy to swallow. It rips away the fake lifeboats we cling to, but it also hands you real strength. You no longer beg the world to change. You learn to change yourself, and that's the only path to spiritual freedom. Truth 2, no one will ever fully understand you, and they don't need to. There's a silent loneliness that's hard to describe. The feeling that no one truly understands you. Even when you pour your heart out, explain with all sincerity, open yourself up, people still miss where you're hurting, still don't quite grasp what you need. And that hurts quietly over time. We grow up believing that if we're good, honest, and kind, others will naturally understand, empathize, and love us. But life is more complicated. People mostly see you through their own lens, not through your heart, and that's perfectly normal. Seneca once wrote, "We spend too much time trying to be understood instead of trying to be steadfast." In a world full of bias, expectations, and judgment, striving to always be understood can become a form of slavery. You live under other people's eyes. You bend yourself to fit standards that were never yours. And you lose the deepest freedom, the freedom to live true to your nature. Marcus Aurelius saw this clearly when he wrote, "Be content to understand yourself. Everything else is secondary. You don't need validation to have worth. You don't need people to understand your pain to be allowed to feel it. You don't need agreement to live the life you choose." This truth sounds cold, but it's the start of inner freedom. Because when you stop demanding that others understand you, you begin to understand yourself better. When you stop trying to explain your life to the world, you start to fully live it, calmly and authentically. The Stoics didn't demand to be understood. They didn't curse when they were misunderstood, because they knew what's worth the effort is not explaining, but remaining steady. Steady when misjudged, steady when unappreciated, steady when the world refuses to acknowledge your efforts. Spiritual freedom isn't everyone understands me. Spiritual freedom is, I don't need that in order to live right and to live kindly. Truth 3, emotions are not facts, they are just reactions. Have you ever felt I'm not good enough? Believed you'd fail before even starting? Or felt the entire world was against you over something small? That's your emotions talking. And the problem is, you believe them. We were raised in a culture that says, if you feel it, it must be true. But that's a mental trap, because emotions are not facts. They're just temporary reactions, passing like wind over water. Epictetus said, "We are disturbed not by things but by the views we take of them." And emotions are the first lens we use to view reality. If that lens is fogged with anxiety, fear, or hurt, then everything you see is distorted. A late reply becomes rejection. A passing glance becomes judgment. A small delay feels like abandonment. Stoic practice is about slowing down before reacting to emotion, not believing the first thing you feel, not letting a wave of emotion sweep away your reason. Marcus Aurelius had a simple but powerful reminder. Say to yourself, this is just an impression, not a command. That means you can feel anger without acting cruelly. You can feel fear, but still move forward. You can feel sadness without labeling yourself as weak. When you separate yourself from your emotions, you regain control. You're no longer a puppet on strings. You're the one holding the strings. And this self-command, is the foundation of freedom. Seneca said it clearly, "The wise man does not banish emotions, but he refuses to be their slave." We don't need to be cold or numb. We just need to understand emotions for what they are, so they don't sweep us away. You can smile at sorrow without drowning in it. You can watch anger without losing control. You can acknowledge worry while standing firm. Freedom isn't the absence of emotion. Freedom is knowing you are not your emotions. If you just sighed reading this, maybe you've realized you've been fooled by your emotions for far too long. But don't worry, Stoicism Empire will keep exposing these tricks of the mind so you can stay clear-headed. So hit subscribe right now. Don't miss the next video the way you miss your reason every time you fall for the wrong person. Truth 4. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. Do you ever feel exhausted by the endless race to prove yourself? Each day trying to show you're good enough, smart enough, successful enough, attractive enough. To your boss, your partner, your friends, society. In that race, you slowly lose yourself. The Stoics remind us of a brutal but liberating truth. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone, because you already have worth. From the moment you were born with reason, humanity, and the power to choose a virtuous life. That worth doesn't come from others' eyes, or from praise or status or possessions. It comes from your actions, daily, hourly, as you live with integrity, duty, and sincerity. Seneca once wrote, "A wise man does not care what others think of him, but only whether he is living rightly." This philosophy doesn't encourage coldness or indifference. It frees you from the addiction to approval. The more you seek outside validation, the further your mind drifts from its inner center. Remember, a pine tree doesn't shout, "I'm the most beautiful tree in the forest." It simply stands tall, roots deep, living its nature. So should we. Marcus Aurelius said, "Your mind will become unconquerable if you make it indifferent to external praise." You don't need to please everyone. You don't need to show off. You don't need to race for attention. Instead, focus on living rightly, doing what's right, keeping your mind steady like a fortress. Because spiritual freedom doesn't come from outside applause. It comes from releasing the need to prove yourself. And before we reach the final and deepest truth, take a moment to do something very stoic. Hit subscribe, and then just sit still. That's it. Sit calmly, without fuss. like a true Stoic, quiet yet unshakable. Truth 5, no one can save you but yourself. Here's a truth most people don't want to hear, but the sooner you accept it, the closer you'll get to inner freedom. No one can save you but yourself. Not your partner, not your family, not the gods, not even a philosophy. Everything outside can inspire, support, or guide, but only you can walk the path. Epictetus emphasized this. You have reason, so stop looking elsewhere for what you already have within. You can listen to 100 Stoic lessons, read every word Marcus Aurelius wrote, memorize Seneca's letters, but if you don't stand up for yourself, choose differently, think differently, act differently, it's all dead knowledge. Stoicism isn't magic. It isn't a cure-all. It's a compass, not a crutch. That's why the Stoics stress discipline, personal responsibility, and self-command. Spiritual freedom begins when you realize no more blaming circumstances, no more waiting for someone to save you from sadness, no more hoping for a miracle to fix your life overnight. Freedom is when you stop, face reality, and say, I am here and I will fix this myself. I will stand on my own, one step at a time. From that moment, you're no longer a victim. You're the master. You're no longer dragged by life. You're choosing your path, and such a person, quiet, maybe unnoticed, but unbreakable within. Stoic conclusion. Freedom is not a floating feeling, not a life without anxiety or responsibility. Freedom in Stoic philosophy is the ability to live with a mind not enslaved by external things. It's when you're insulted, but anger doesn't rule you. It's when you lose, but don't lose yourself. It's when the world spins, and you still choose the right attitude. Seneca summed it up simply, with words that free the soul. The wise man is free, for he is bound only by his own reason. When you accept brutal truths, you don't become harsh, you become mature. When you see the world as it really is, without sugarcoating, without illusions, you don't become pessimistic, you become resilient. And when you no longer fear what you cannot control, you are truly free. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You are exactly the kind of person who can become a Stoic. Subscribe to Stoicism Empire now so that every week Stoic wisdom will remind you, we are not here to live easily. We are here to live rightly. And if this resonates, leave a comment below. No one can save you but yourself, but the right philosophy can help you walk the path without fear. Stoicism Empire, where reason rules and the spirit is set free.